I started working in the Public Theater lobby for George C. Wolfe when he first hired me. At the time he hired me, the lobby was marbleized and had a lot of mirror in it that we removed and replaced with white walls and bright graphics and the colors you see here today. But they weren't permanent. They were banners that were more or less hooked up into position that got dirty over time. And finally, a year ago, this renovation opened up. It was 5 years in the making with the cooperation of various agencies in the city and, of course, the director of the Public Theater, Oscar Eustis. And this is actually a refinement of what we did originally and a much more permanent structure. I went to Tyler School of Art from 1966 to 1970. 2 years I took every kind of art course, painting, printmaking, sculptures, ceramics, metalwork, and I was terrible at everything. But when I took graphic design in my third year of school, I discovered it was about ideas, and I became intrigued with it. I wanted to be an illustrator because I thought that being a graphic designer meant you had to be neat, and illustration seemed sloppier, so I liked that more. But then I discovered when I moved to New York City to be an illustrator in 1970 that I actually didn't draw all that well. So I did what everybody who can't design and can't draw does. I became an art director. And that's actually how I began designing as an art director. And what you're seeing here in the lobby is the same font that we were working with, which was originally a Morgan font, but now is called Knockout because it was digitized by Jonathan Heffler somewhere in the late 90s. But originally we actually put the type together by hand because it wasn't yet digitized. The system I developed was American wood type in different weights that when put together created a specific recognizable spirit, and used over and over again in different configurations created the language that was the Public Theater. Pentagram is the most unusual of design organizations. It's a designed business that's a place for a designer to work. It is a group of like-minded partners who are in all kinds of disciplines and designs. They're architects, product designers, digital designers, graphic designers, magazine designers. We put all our earnings in the center. We share them equally. We draw the same salary and we share a bonus in an office. And we can do this because we calculate that over the long term we're essentially equal. We provide different things, we have different talents, different intelligences, but everybody brings something to the table, and that's what we share. I'm going to show work that I've done and still do for the Public Theater, which is a 20-year relationship. I'm going to talk about a brand new project I did for the Philadelphia Museum that is just launching as we speak. I'm going to talk about Jazz at Lincoln Center, which was developed and designed 15 years ago and redesigned only last year, and very much along the same lines, so it's a continuation of a system. I'm also going to show a philosophy about how to create logos for Microsoft, which was a system that was developed based on designing the Windows logo and now has stretched across the whole company. And I'm going to show a very small project that's very liquid for the Type Directors Club. The Public Theater building has these arches that were here at the beginning of the building. What we did is inserted typography. It's actually a piece of metal that's recessed that is then painted and inserted into the arches so it looks like the letter forms are pushed back. I don't approach a visual identity without some thought about how it may function environmentally as well as digitally. I think that that's actually the role of the designer, and to think that you're making a mark that's going to live alone without some broader context where the form is going to change is just not practical. So generally, when I design virtually anything, I'm thinking about how it lives in three-dimensional space. So the assignment is to identify your not-for-profit organization, select an area in which you have interest that you can sustain, and then design a kit of parts that becomes your liquid identity. And the kit of parts should demonstrate a logo and/or mark, a typographic system, a color palette, perhaps the use of icons or the use of photography or illustration, and a methodology of approach. And you should take the system and you should use your system to demonstrate various aspects of the organization. You theoretically should be creating pieces in all media, meaning apps, websites, as well as brochures or mailers. You want to be creating public spaces, so you may be doing the front of the building or the lobby and showing how the graphics integrate into those spaces. And the type of retail objects you make should reinforce the identity not just in their design, but in the spirit of what you select to make.